guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
We didn't prepare anything.
Yeah, but we have something to say because tomorrow. Okay, welcome everyone. Tomorrow is the Assange verdict. Like we're after all these years of like fighting, we're kind of getting something out of it, either positive or negative. Like the judge is going to say something. Is he going to be extradited or not? I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to anyone who was sure about it. No one knows what's going to happen. I do know that there is like huge organizations speaking out in favor of him now too. From even like this whole collective of journalists, like hundred thousands of journalists they represent, and ACLU, Amnesty International is like, I'm not sure, but there is certainly some pressure put on the judge. From both sides. But it is going to happen at 10:15 UK time, which is 11:15.
7 hours.
Yeah,
6 hours.
Yeah.
2:15 a.m. if you're in California.
Yeah, 11:15 European time. So, we'll see.
My biggest fear is that it'll be dismissed, and I don't know the laws in the United Kingdom, but my biggest fear is they will file an appeal. The U.S. DOJ will file an appeal for an appeal, which means this whole situation will take another year, you know?
Yeah, delaying it endlessly is probably one of their goals. It benefits them to have like a journalist in jail like that. It like pressures other journalists in not talking about the truth, and like we're like facing this full-blown dystopian future here now, all over the world. It's like everything is changing. Like at first, like I was thinking, okay, that this is all good because of some virus thing, but now you just see that what's going on, and it has nothing to do with any of that anymore. It's just obliterating all the human rights, including press freedom of assembly.
Speaking of, they set the fucking decision for Human fucking Rights Day.
Really?
Yeah, December 10th is supposed to be Human Rights Day. And like the US State Department is doing this whole like democracy summit bullshit. And so they can endlessly posture to everybody about how great the United States is, and then it's gonna get worse on Human Rights Day. And we
the worst.
Like just this morning, we heard that the verdict is going to be read on Human Rights Day. They 100% did that on purpose, and I'm pissed at that.
It is. Because it's also a United Nations Human Rights Day thing, which is weird because you have United Nations people like Niels Melzer speaking out in favor of Assange, and they're doing it like on this exact date, which is kind of insane. Well, unless it's going to be a good decision, of course. Like, I mean, yeah. And it's symbolic.
But even with a good decision on Human Rights Day, that doesn't make like any of these Western regimes like the grand upholders of everything that is good and free in this world. Like, no, the U.S. is still shite, even if Assange doesn't get extradited and the charges get dropped tomorrow.
Of course.
This is a different administration too. Like, does Biden even know this is going on? Because this happened under his watch, so technically he's responsible.
No,
They're
it's not anything.
giving the most infuriating arguments every single time they get pressed about it. I think Ned Price, Jen Psaki, and Antony Blinken have all been asked so far about the prosecution of Julian Assange, and every single time their response has been, "Oh, well, we're leaving that matter up to the Department of Justice because, unlike Trump, we're in favor of having an independent Department of Justice. So we're going to leave that matter up to them and be hypocritical fucking cunts on the down low."
Yeah, yeah, literally. You know,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous. The DOJ could have withdrawn their appeal at any time. Uh, you know, I even heard that Trump wanted Julian to shut up too. They asked him, I think it was like a deal or something. He's got So I really I don't understand what the point of prosecuting a man who's been in prison for like 10 years, basically. I mean, if you include the embassy and the previous house arrests, yeah, he's been locked up for 10 years. Like, you got him, right? But like at this point, what are they pursuing? I mean, they're trying to. I don't know. They just DOJ is hypocritical of itself, and so is the United States government.
So someone in chat is asking, how is it possible the US can even abduct someone from another country without even going through the UN?
Well, you just put out an international warrant, don't you? Your Interpol and all the cooperating governments go after him.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Yeah. Interpol is an organization of 96 countries, and he was put on that list in 2010. So the biggest countries like Russia, United States, they all wanted his ass. They wanted him arrested. So yeah, what can you do about it? And there's so he got asylum in Ecuador, right? But there's extradition treaties between countries, and even though the previous president of Ecuador was very supportive of Assange and gave him political asylum, the new president was not, right? And he chose the American side, so to speak, and so they could just raid the embassy and take him out.
Now legally though, he was supposed to be able to, once you are granted asylum, you normally just don't take it away. That's not how it works. You either have it or you don't.
Yeah,
so the whole thing's rotten.
You're right. There needs to be a legal conflict about it. There needs to be a whole process before they would be able to do that. Yeah. But
now, how is the UK holding Assange? I don't think he has any. There's really no reason they can hold him right now. That's the big problem they have.
No, you're right. But they use tricks, right? And that's why it was so important for Biden and these people to like brand him as a cyber terrorist, etc. To put some kind of like urgency in it, and also like remove some protective things, because those are pretty much introduced after 2001, right? After the whole World Trade Center stuff, that they can treat like whatever terrorist different. And so they put like all kinds of urgencies in their process. Yeah, behind the scenes stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's not legal, but I mean, yeah. And about the UN and being in conflict with that on the US. Yeah, well, there is extradition treaties, and there is the UN Human Rights Council made their own decisions on things. Like you're not allowed to torture, for example. Yeah, so technically that would end up in like a legal conflict with the UN, right? If the UN would follow through with that. Like it could eventually end with people being put in International Court of Justice, for example, in The Hague. But how likely is that? We don't know. Americans didn't even ratify that court. It's like the Americans were convicted for Nicaragua in the 80s at that court too. And what did they do? Like they never paid the restore payments they were convicted for. They were convicted for invading that, for messing with that country, taking over the harbors, murdering people and stuff. Had to pay hundreds and hundreds of billions, I think, in repair money. and never got. They just said like, we don't accept the judgment of this court. Like, this is just a crap court. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's also not a flight. Well, technically, I mean, that's he really isn't a flight risk, and there is no real reason to keep him behind bars other than bureaucracy, specialized interests.
He really isn't a flight risk, but that's what when he was initially denied bail back in January on the 8th, 2 days after he was denied extradition, he was denied bail, and one of the reasons they cited was the asylum offer from AMLO. Which is like, thanks. I guess you picked the worst timing to offer someone asylum when they're trying to prove that they're not a fucking flight risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, just for the listeners, this show won't be like a super long show because we will like prepare for the whole trial of a verdict thing. I did ask Deepa to come on with us tomorrow, and she will. We'll ask some others, so got maybe like early evening, maybe European time or something. We can go live about that. Maybe earlier. I don't know. I don't know how hectic it's going to be. I don't know if the verdict will be exactly at 10:15 either. I'm expecting it though.
We'll be streaming it on a Slow News Day as it happens. Or
Do we have any
during that time?
Do we have anybody there in the streets?
Well, Deepa is a legal observer, right? For the she is there as a legal observer, and she does record everything that's going on there. So we do have Deepa.
Juan.
Yeah, but I know Juan Passarella isn't in the UK right now. So.
Oh, okay. He's coming in via Zoom then.
Yeah, because I know he's in Germany right now, so there's reasons for that too, right? It's just the UK isn't what it was.
No, it's a surveillance state.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pressure being put right now on press, right? And we don't know what's going to happen if like what they do to Assange is such an attack on press freedom that other journalists don't really feel safe in that area either anymore. So I don't blame Juan for getting into a better place. Although I don't agree that Germany is any better, though. I had that discussion with him already.
Yeah, I don't think journalism is safe in any country. Remember, even in Turkey, they backed off Julian Assange. So
Turkey was one of the last.
And there was another one in when Bosnia was still around. There was a reporter that got fucking whacked for undercovering. They were selling old USSR weapons to whoever wanted it, mostly terrorists. So she got whacked too.
Yeah. Okay, former Yugoslavia is like, that's a really bad place, but it has to do with poverty too, right? It's completely destroyed by, imperialist forces. So yeah. Like, I've been to Sarajevo, right? And in Sarajevo, you literally saw holes in the wall still. Even after all this time, there were still holes in the wall. It's really sad. Now, so Titus is asking in the chat, will there be a verdict tonight? It will be at 10:15 UK time this morning. So that is in about 5 hours and 15 minutes, right? On 6 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So 6 hours and 15 minutes, Titus, there will be a verdict. If they're fast. I will be
honestly,
really fast.
On some court cases, I really know where they're going to go. This one, I don't.
It's just because of the appeal thing where they can keep filing meaningless appeal after meaningless appeal. It's like there's no rush to extradite him if they can just let him rot in Belmarsh.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that might be the plan, is just appeal it until he dies in there,
What's the best case? Can he actually win and walk out of there?
Yeah. I just don't know what country he can go to. I'm pretty sure he can go to any. I'm pretty sure there's a few countries that have offered him citizenship. So he can go back to Australia too. So
Well, I mean, Mexico offered him asylum. Don't go to Ecuador. Maybe he could go to
Mexico's
Bolivia.
better for him to go than Australia, though. To be honest,
No, don't, Mexico, no. That's
I'm
too
just
close to the U.S. and too close to Commander X for my liking.
yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
true.
if I was Stella, or I couldn't do it if I was Julian because he's locked up. But if I was Stella, I would send a letter to the Queen right now. Like if they don't let him go free, she should send a letter to the Queen because she is about to get married with him, and you have you can formally request a pardon from the Queen for these reasons, and she is able to just let him out.
Yeah,
What
that's
happens?
true. Yeah, she does. She does have power over the courts and
Yeah,
Parliament.
yeah, she has the power to pardon people, and I would do it if I was her, because the royal family already said before that this is a political trial, and they pretty much chose side of the defense by saying that, because that puts the extradition treaty in a different view, because yeah,
Yeah,
you're not allowed to just extradite political people, just for political reasons. So. But yeah, they couldn't get involved, but they can get involved with providing pardons. So if I was Stella, I would do that. She knows that, of course. She's a lawyer, so because we have a royal family here too. They have that power too, and I know the British royal family is far more powerful than what the Dutch royal family can do in the country. So
Thought those were all just ceremonial positions. That's what I always hear.
well, our royal family is not ceremonial position, like, because I have a family member myself who, like, he was like involved with like violence in the street and stuff. He beat some guy up. He had to be away for like a half a year or something in prison, which is not comparable to this in any way, right? But then he also he was about to get married, right? And so it was actually my grandpa, my grandma, who sent like a letter to the Queen, and she pardoned him. So it does happen. He got like pardoned, and they said like, yeah, you can just walk out, get married. And he just walked out of prison, right? So, but it doesn't really have to do either with like deciding like if it's legally like if you have a good case or something. It's just like you have like a list. See, they can give like whatever, like 10 pardons or something a year or something, and they do that, right? You're just randomly on that list or something, and you'll get pardoned. Like, I don't really think they really care what you did either. So it's not like they will decide like, this seems like a nice person to pardon or something, and you just make it on our list or not. I know he does. He got pardoned. Yeah. I hope the best for Assange, but it would be interesting because that would be a middle way. Like, they would still say he's like guilty of everything and he's a super dangerous guy, and then he still gets pardoned and he walks away.
Then you could have the big scandal of why the Queen did it. And that could go on for years too.
Yeah, she'll make her like a little bit prettier looking record, considering the whole Maxwell trial and everything.
True.
Yeah, there's some pressure on that Andrew dude. Stuff he was involved with Epstein. So yeah, that would be a smart move for the Queen to do. And if there's any time you should do it now. You should message her and ask for a pardon. But it needs to be all like super official. You can't just like randomly email them, like mass email them, pardon the guy.
Well, and I don't think she reads the emails.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think she used the computer. Maybe she does.
Small donation will help.
A donation to the Queen.
Yes, for a new park, somewhere because you don't have one. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
but the donation is important.
Very generous donation.
It always helps.
Yeah. Oh my god. getting kind of anxiety thinking about the trial of mine, or of yours. Did you hear, it's kind of off the topic. You remember that guy on Twitter that was following the Maxwell trial? Did you guys remember?
Suspended?
Yeah. What the fuck was that about? You know?
I mean, are we surprised?
Yeah, well, I also saw
He was
some
an
people saying, like...
independent.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he was an independent journalist. Nothing was reportable on that case or the posts that he had done, and then all of a sudden, all of his not one but all of his accounts went down. You know, all of them. That's so weird. Well, considering it's Maxwell's case. I don't know.
Yeah, so it was the biggest account, like, I think, covering that, so that's probably the reason. I did see some negativities around that account too, like there was some survivors saying like, yeah, he wasn't like representing them, whatever, and so I'm not sure about it. I didn't watch it that closely, but I do know there was some, yeah, a little bit from both sides, but yeah, I still agree, censorship should never happen, like, in this case. Like, you shouldn't just suspend these huge accounts during the trial. But how did this person show up with, like, what is it, 450,000 followers suddenly? Does anyone know that?
I don't know. I was following other accounts for updates on the trial, so...
Yeah, because on Twitter, you don't actually need like a gazillion followers to spread your message, right? If you're just not shadow banned, people can still read it if they use the right hashtags. But I was thinking, like, how does an account suddenly show up with like 450,000 followers? That makes me kind of suspicious, to be honest. But that because I'm like kind of like a tinfoil hatter, so. Huh.
You have to pretend in the land of make believe, and then it all makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, they get suspended. Yeah. If you're influential, you will get suspended.
Well, you can, yes. Well, when they can do it to the president, they can do it to anybody.
Okay, so about Epstein Maxwell real quick. I think Maxwell was like far more powerful than Epstein. I think he was just a buyer, one of her buyers, and she has more buyers, and some of them are still actively buying. So I'm not sure how this case is going to end.
I mean, I think she was way more connected than him. When your dad gets a state funeral from Israel, I think it's safe to say that she's more connected than Epstein.
Well, didn't Epstein get money from oil?
Yeah, that too.
And you're splitting hairs here. I mean, who's the bigger criminal?
They're all crooks. Sometimes it doesn't matter about the share. You just want them all to get like held accountable for it. Like, I don't really care about the power sharing between, like, say Maxwell and Wexner. Just yeah, fuck them all. Speaking of them all, to divert it back to the Assange case, I guess one of the appeal judges that's giving the verdict or something like that, what's his face, Lord Chief Justice Ian Jameson or something like that. Let me get his name real quick.
Yeah, get the title right, because they're all about titles.
Lord Chief Justice Ian Burnett, friends with a guy around from the embassy. I think he was having like dinner or something with a bunch of CIA spooks as well.
Was that government-induced static, or did I hear that right?
I did. I heard it. It was weird.
Okay, am I back?
Yeah. You just got all fuzzy.
Okay, yeah, I was just saying, Lord Chief Justice Ian Burnett is friends with a guy who helped orchestrate Assange being dragged out of the Ecuadorian embassy. And, like, I guess he was having dinner with, like, some CIA spooks the other day.
Yeah, I saw something about. Yeah, there was some guy was like was the CIA was working for the CIA, something like that. I don't know. I only saw the headlines. I didn't.
It's in a declassified UK article.
Oh. Well, what do you guys think will happen tomorrow or today? Well, I don't know. In a few hours.
I think he won't be extradited. But that's personal. I have no
Yeah.
reason,
Well, you know, when it comes to those kind of cases, you know, like we've had several of them on our show, and but they were all hacking. It was all hacking crimes, which is well, I think the UK is, or not the UK, DOJ has accused them of hacking, and the UK decided not to hand over anyone,
yeah.
any of them. Gary, Lori, God, who else? Yeah, Gary and Lori, they didn't hand over either. But the DOJ didn't appeal those cases. So,
No. No, but like in Laurie's case, for example, he was ruled against by a lower court, and then he appealed and had to go to a higher court. So, and that higher court ruled against extradition because he lost in a lower court. So, and this is kind of like the other way around. Like Julian Assange kind of won in the lower court, actually ruled against extradition on medical reasons, and then the government appealed. So, yeah. Well, I think like they won't extradite him, but it will be for medical reasons again, right? And they will like say he is guilty of everything else. So the Americans will get their way on saying like, yeah, he's guilty and everything, but it's for medical reasons. We won't extradite. That's what I think will happen, so the judge can get away with it. Yes. And Americans will still get their whole like public victory.
yeah, that would be the. That would still be a win for us anyway. Then he's out. It's free. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as he's out, he's free. He's able to talk again, right? And he's able to like do the stuff again that he's good at.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also he will be able to find himself a country where he can do the stuff. Because there are certain countries where he can. So, yeah. But yeah.
Even Iceland's not safe either. They just grabbed another journalist from there. I don't remember his name. About a month ago. Iceland's not safe anymore.
No. No, and that's what I also learned with when you deal with this this order, this establishment group, that always the spots where you have like the most resistance, they will come hardest at those spots. Like in the past we had like Sweden, right, with the Pirate Bay and everything, and Anakata and these people, and
Yeah.
Sweden was doing really good, like with the whole free speech thing. You were able to host pretty much everything there. Like Pirate Bay had no problem there. It was just in Bahnhof in this data center under the ground and stuff. And then just because of that, yeah, and just because of that, they came at Sweden like really fucking hard. Like Sweden was pretty much like turned into the most disgusting thing for press freedom, like calling journalists rapists and everything. Like smear campaigns and you're not able to host anything there anymore. For example, like it's really disgusting. Like at least in our country they did a slow kill, right? I mean, yeah, they didn't come at us so hard. Our
Yeah,
country
they.
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
No, I was saying our country was like a playground too for hosting companies. You could do anything here. I mean, streaming illegal movies, illegal cricket matches, whatever was no problem. But now it is like, they came at us very slowly. But Sweden just threw it in their face. Like we have the Pirate Bay here, like we have like 1 gazillion Hollywood movies we just show for free. We use torrents and you can't stop it, right? They threw it in their face, and that's when the establishment comes like you like really, really super hard. So they threw this Anakata in jail and stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a whole documentary on the Pirate Bay. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. So that was a big thing in the anon scene too. I mean, before Assange, it was pretty much free Anakata. It was really big, a really big scene movement, and yeah, it was a very very tough fight. Because he essentially did nothing wrong either. Because when he was doing it, it was legal in Sweden. So yeah, he didn't do anything. He wasn't a criminal. Like he was just following the Swedish law at that moment. And then they like change the law and they say like, yeah, you're guilty of it because you did something before the law was changed. That's really dangerous legislation.
Oh, when they apply the law retroactive, yeah, that's dangerous. That shouldn't even be legal in any country. No.
No, and that is when, yeah, you probably remember that is when Sven and Cyberbunker and everything took over. Pirate Bay was hosted at Cyberbunker, right? And it lasted for a while.
Our Sven?
Yeah, our Sven.
Are you serious? Oh
Yeah.
my god.
You just said fuck off. We're hosting this.
Yeah, that sounds like him. Yeah. I haven't heard from him in a while.
No,
Okay.
he got raided again in Germany, right? He got raided again because he hosted like 30% of the dark web.
Yeah, he was telling me, he's like, last time I talked to him, he was like jacking servers and mining Litecoin, and he was making a lot of money. And I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. He's like, do you want to get on this? And I was like, no, not really. I don't want another charge. So. Funny.
Yeah, no, he's always been kind of like an anarchist in that sense. He just wants to like host anything he wants, like have like a free internet and stuff. But we're on the losing side in that. It's getting worse everywhere.
Yeah.
We can't change.
Yeah, the internet isn't what it was back in the day. Everything's kind of changed, you know.
So there's no way to like have a truly free server in any country where you can just like anything goes. You can't do that anymore anywhere.
Well, okay, so there are ways, but that pretty much has to do with getting like a large amount of users, like using like a blockchain and having the users run something themselves, kind of like Tor does, right? Like
I2P, peer-to-peer.
Yeah, also, yeah. With I2P, it also works. Like that, you have the users using it, doing it themselves. Like anyone can make these exit nodes, and it means like you make it legally, it's not able to stop them, but technically, it's impossible to take down. That's pretty much it. They can stop it legally, but they can't technically take it down. That's the same as with Tor. Like anyone can start .onion addresses. You can connect them to your normal thing, and it becomes really hard to identify what server is behind that .onion address. And it takes so much effort to do that it is technically impossible for them. They just don't have the power for it. It's like Preston, like when like a judge says, yeah, like take it down, and then say you can just ask like, yeah, what army are you going to use it? You don't have the army to do that.
But right now, they're already trying to dismantle Tor. You heard about those fake nodes that they have set up so that they de-anonymize you?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, there are estimates that, like, okay, so some estimate there is, like, a large number of fake nodes, but there is, like, the Tor owners themselves say, like, technically, we expect there is less than 1% on hijacked nodes. Like, they don't think the number is that high. But yeah, it's possible.
I remember what's his name. That one hacker told me that that was another way of getting people's IPs set up like fucking honeypots and shit with nodes.
Yeah, and definitely it works. It's a technique because like, the Tor network automatically routes you over that network. So you will, if you have a large amount of fake nodes on a network, it will inevitably route over the fake nodes at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even if it's 1%, if you connect 100 times to the Tor, yeah, you're going to hit it once at least, right? Mathematically, so.
Some point.
Yeah. But then still, if you're good at OPSEC, there are different methods behind your Tor 2 to use, right? You can do other things too, extra. Like if you're doing something really fucking shady, you use Tor, but you can also use, next to that, you sit on some random spot in your country on a public Wi-Fi or something, right?
Yeah. I don't believe in the whole. I think that the stupidest thing people recommend is a VPN behind Tor. I said that's like stupid because your VPN service will hand over your shit. It doesn't matter.
No, true. With the Tor, okay, so it encrypts your traffic, it hides your endpoint and whatever. But you can still safeguard your real endpoint too, like add like an extra endpoint to it, but don't use like the VPN thing, but just like find some random spot where there are no cameras on some public Wi-Fi, right? And change the MAC address.
Or you can just get a directional antenna and just hack somebody's Wi-Fi. You could be a good block away from somebody and just using somebody's access point. It's you told me that was a long time ago. It said the best connection is a jack connection. So hack connection was he's dead now. Remember our friend Zach? Remember Zach? Yeah. He's dead now. He said he told me all the hacks he did were like at random place like Walmart parking lot or some random place.
The same for me though. Like, yeah, that's just how it goes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's just the technique. You just hide your endpoint, but you also have to be careful, like hide whatever hardware you're using. Like there's so many ways now to identify hardware, especially for like real professional identification specialists, like Facebook, for example, right? They are really professional at identifying people, and they don't need your IP address or whatever to identify what hardware you're using. Like they don't care about that. Like they can see it from the screen resolution, operating system, the camera you use in your hardware, the microphone you use. That's already enough for them to know, like, okay, this person is probably on this and this laptop. And that makes like the pool of people so small to choose from. Like, well, we can see like, okay, there's only 500 people who bought a laptop this year. This is a new laptop. Only 500 people bought it this year in this country. It's very likely this is one of them. So you're in a pool of 500 people suddenly instead of 7 billion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it becomes much easier to watch 500 people. Yeah. You check your ClearNet traffic and you mention something weird, right? You become like, you're already in their scope. But you're right though, public locations and the secretary guy was smart, but he was already in like early 90s, he was there in IRCs and stuff.
Yeah, that was really shitty way it went out.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever caught the guy who killed him. Ran him over.
Yeah, didn't the guy just drive away?
Yeah, he ran over him. Zach was drunk crossing the street. That was it.
I read about that. It was really strange.
Do that in a big city. People just keep rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to say it's not common, but you know, in the cities, yeah, if somebody does something wrong or hits somebody, the mentality is okay, just drive and hopefully it'll go away. But you know, I know he was in Flint, so I don't know if there's any I don't think they ever followed up on it. You know. That's a shame.
Is anybody going to be covering the Assange trial from outside?
I know Reporters Without Borders are going to be there. They're going to do everything they can to be there.
Oh yeah.
If they should.
Yeah, it's on a Friday, before weekend. Bad timing.
Yeah.
Craig Murray seems to be covering. He's good. I'm glad he's out.
There'll be people there. I just don't think it'll be in the major headline news, though. It might not. It might or it might not. I don't know. It's only every once in a while I'll hear about the Assange trial, and it's not. It's just like a little blip,
Yeah, there's not much in the news here.
No. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, with the whole appeal thing, like, a lot of people really got lulled
Yeah.
into, just nothing.
Always than one.
Well, I hope as many as possible cover it, because it's for their sake. I mean, I hope at least every fucking UK journalist is going to cover this. Like, regardless if they like or hate the guy, but I mean, this is going to affect all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
Yeah. The guy is not a US citizen.
Yeah, I know. And why should he be subjected to the United States?
He's part of the British Commonwealth. So all these UK citizens, you better speak up about this.
I guess we're mad because he exposed what we were doing. I mean, what is it? I mean, is the hacking crime really what they could hold him for? I mean, what else is there? Alleged hacking crime.
Yeah, he didn't hack anything. It was all given. It was all data dumps. You know. Unless I lost connection. Can anybody hear me?
No, I can hear you. There's a little doubt there for a second. I was just reading through the chat.
We got to get a base level. Everybody has to be quiet.
No.
Oh, yeah. No, but my mom says like Laurie was under the Visa Act, which is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. But isn't Assange like? No, I shouldn't. Isn't he accused of similar things? Like, isn't hacking in things? But they were called like a foreign intelligence agency before, like by U.S. politicians. What politician was that? I don't know.
That was recent. That was recently too. That was in the last 5 years. I remember. Oh.
Yeah. Hey, someone just says he's usually watching this on Twitch. I didn't even know we had viewers on Twitch.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, I set that up. I still don't have the password to that account, but it's still alive. So, because I never set up an email, so there's no way to get the password back.
Oh my god.
That was that. Yeah, I signed up when the Stoner gaming platform. I don't know. That's basically what I think about it because there are a bunch of stoners, and they at one point you didn't even need an email or anything just to set up just a password. I wasn't sure. You just download the app and you put in a password, and there's no email, no identification, no way to retrieve anything. So yeah, it's
It's
I
really
don't know how to
complicated.
get it. Yeah, I know. I don't even know how to get back into the account. And it's
Yeah, well, we have the Gates of Conflict. That is our Twitch viewer. So shout out to the Gates of Conflict. But he's on YouTube here now, so. Well, you used to do like a Periscope too, but suddenly like it just disappeared.
Oh yeah, now it's like live directly from Twitter.
Yeah, but that's crap. I'm not using Twitter for anything.
yeah. I was like stupid when I deleted the Periscope, but now I don't know if there's an actual way to stream to Twitter without begging Twitter to allow you to do it because they have the Twitter media studio, but you have to be invited into it. They have to let you. I don't think there's another way besides pressing the live button on your app. But to use OBS to stream to Twitter is like impossible now, which is stupid. You know,
Yeah.
that's what happens when you let corporate executives make decisions.
Yay.
Yeah, they don't need any professional stuff. They just stream from their phones. Yeah, but what if somebody actually had like the right gear and shit, you know?
Yeah, ¿por qué no los dos? Like, some people like to go live from their phones, and some people have a studio. I don't know.
Yeah, Instagram is the same way. They still haven't allowed you to stream using OBS. No, you can use third party software, but the only thing you can do is you can make like cool weird backgrounds and stuff like that, but it's not like all of the advanced stuff you can do with like OBS, like a real broadcasting software, you know.
Well, good, because IG hasn't let me go live from my account for like 2 years, which is why I stopped posting shit on there. They just broke it.
Where's everybody running to? Where's the new platform that's maybe we can get on this Trump media platform that's coming up.
What?
Was it hacked like already?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm on many places. I'm on Gap, Hive. So I'm still on Steemit. I have even used an Instagram. Like, I mean, Twitter is it became so toxic that I just feel bad using it. It's just like it's really toxic. I saw the oldest accounts, like oldest Anon accounts, is he dropping there, right? He said at Fourth Estate Anon. He dropped, he's gone. He had like 40,000 followers or something. He dropped like 2 weeks ago. This guy never posted anything weird, and he's been there since 2009.
Oh yeah.
That is 12 years. And he wasted 12 years on Twitter just to get deleted for no reason.
There's a lesson there. It's like you can't get. Old timers used to tell me like you don't get too emotional like when you're trading a stock. Like don't fall in love with it. I think it's the same thing with your social media. Don't fall in love with the shit.
Yeah, seriously. I always look at accounts as perishable. And
Yes.
your social, how many millions of followers you can do, you could say one stupid thing, and then they'll be like, oh my god, he said this! And then, boom, those politics come in, and you're gone.
I mean, especially if you are in politics, then there are people like actively seeking out accounts to report.
Yeah.
think they're missing out on a good way to make money. It's like, they could like hold you hostage and say, okay, we're about ready to delete your stupid ass for something you said, but if you give us $5, we'll let you stay on.
Only $5.
Yeah, I mean, or just $1, they'd make tons.
Yeah.
I mean, I just let them have my account then.
We honestly don't need to be on Twitter anymore. The platform is also like dropping in size, and it's very small. Really, it pretends to
Really?
be much bigger. It pretends to be much bigger than it really is. It has only 180 million users total active.
Really?
Yeah, and that makes Discord bigger already, for example. Yeah, I checked the
Well, then-
active amount of active users, and it's like 180.
Well, which one is the most active? Is it Instagram?
I think Instagram is the most active now. Yeah, and YouTube,
Yeah.
of course, and YouTube is huge. Facebook is huge. Instagram is huge. I think YouTube is probably still bigger than Instagram, but Instagram is big too. Yeah, TikTok is bigger too than Twitter, for example.
WhatsApp is huge too.
Yeah, WhatsApp. Telegram has like 1 billion users, so that's big too.
Telegram's on the come up.
Yeah, yeah. So I think TikTok is already bigger than Twitter, to be honest. So yeah. The only thing that Twitter has for it is that it has like these celebs and stuff on it, and it allows you to quickly like talk to actually like whatever influential people or something. But yeah, if that's really it.
So we only have like 1 minute on a TikTok, right? I mean, we'd have to do a whole show in 1 minute.
I'm not sure. You
Oh,
can.
No, you can stream TikTok after you have like 1,000 followers. YouTube does something similar where like they on the mobile app they'll let you stream from your phone on the mobile app if you have like 100,000 followers or something like that.
Okay, it says in this is like from the end of October, early November. It says they hit 211 million active users, Twitter.
Yeah, and how many bots? Like
Yeah, exactly.
Billions of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have the TikTok that's like pretty much just started, has 1 billion active users in September 2021. And at least those people are actually posting videos, so they're probably not bots.
Yeah.
Instagram has 1.4 billion users,
Ugh.
and YouTube has 2.3 billion active users. So that makes YouTube 10 times the size of Twitter right now.
Yeah, YouTube's going to shit anyway. Well,
Yeah, everybody's still pissed because they took away the dislike button.
oh, they did? Wow.
Well, not took it away, but like you can't see the number of dislikes, remember?
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh. Wow.
Yeah, it's like if you watch a video, you can see the number of likes, but you can't see the number of dislikes. So like you have the option to dislike it. You just won't know if the World Economic Forum is getting ratioed or some shit. You won't know it because they won't know
Yeah.
the number of dislikes.
True. They removed the dislike thing now from YouTube.
I'll get you the link. There's a guy on YouTube that I watch called Engineer Man who's I think he worked through the API to figure out how many dislikes there are on a video. I'll try to get that.
Mad Mom says Element, Jitsi, Keybase, Wire, Hive, Mastodon. I like wire for communication, but it's like really hard to get like large groups going there. Yeah, Mastodon, that seems like the answer, but yeah, for some reason it doesn't grow really fast.
Yeah, I mean, those are good suggestions.
Okay.
Yeah, Mastodon is just basically a Twitter clone, but it's open source. So
Well, Mastodon, like, Mastodon's interface annoys me. I'm sorry.
I had an account there once, but I don't think I ever did anything with it.
Yeah, I have
Oh,
one there too, but I don't do anything with it.
yeah, I think I just went on there just to follow Lori because Lori went there for a while. Other than that, I don't find any real purpose for it, really.
Yeah, I just went on there because Sleepy J made a slow news day group on there, and I was like, yeah. And then that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks interesting, Alamo.
What's going on?
It's a video from Engineer Man that says this video has 1,378 dislikes.
What?
So he is able to trace it.
Oh, you're right. There is nothing that has any. They don't say dislikes. That's so weird.
Yeah, it's been removed. Like, it probably has to do with all the anti-vaxxers disliking all the crap media.
Oh yeah.
100%. Because, I mean, like, they framed it as some weird thing where it was like, oh, this'll... Okay, obviously I'm not quoting them directly because I don't even remember what they said that much, but it was some, like, bullshit reasoning like, oh, this will help protect creators from, like, coordinated ratios or some shit like that. And it's like,
Oh yeah.
like, okay, yeah, cyber harassment is real, but, like, realistically, y'all didn't give a shit about that until World Economic Forum videos started getting, like, 10 likes and 20,528 dislikes.
Yeah, more and more social media is not what it used to be 10 years ago. You know, you used to be able to do whatever the fuck you want. Now you can't do anything. Now it's all, you have this and there are rules and now there's laws. And, you know, even trolling's in some senses illegal, you know, for the cyber stalking laws, you know.
It's social engineering, not social media.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah?
Because now you can make money being an influencer.
The Gates of Conflict says because dislikes gets you auto shadow banned.
Really?
So if you put like a lot of dislikes on, you get like shadow banned and stuff. So maybe activists or something were causing things to be shadow banned, or the other way around, right? Like if you talk bad about vaccines or whatever, that's big pharma or something is getting you shadow banned. I don't know.
I don't know, but I feel like that suppression happens naturally without having to send, like, dislikes. It just looks stupid.
Do we have something else we should really mention?
You were supposed to put in the
The what?
that message, you know, you get when like service is down. You know.
Oh yeah, Amazon Web Services went down, and you know that they didn't say shit about that. Um, what was it on a Monday, right? So I have an NDA with this company, and I can't say which one that I'm working for, and yeah, so my pay was delayed because of that fucking outage for like 3 days. Nobody said shit about that. Does anybody know what happened?
Never
Or
heard
nobody
about
even
that one.
noticed?
That's the first I'm hearing of it.
Are you serious?
That
Yeah.
Amazon Web Services went down?
Yes, Monday.
I
Yeah.
did not hear shit.
Really?
I mean,
Yeah,
the
nobody's
story
no
would
nobody's
probably be suppressed, and also
no
I
no
don't use Amazon. I don't know.
no, it was specifically AWS, some of it went down, but a lot of it was on payment systems, which nobody said anything about. Yeah. Monday, I got affected by it. I was so pissed. I couldn't pay any bills. I didn't get any money. Well, I don't know. In my circle, everybody, all the employees were saying, like, what the fuck? You know?
You get paid straight from them, right? Is that what you're, or
No,
the banking goes through them?
banking goes through them, whatever service they're using on the back. I think it's, I want to say, God, I've been in the back end once to do something, and they use some weird program. It doesn't exactly have a very nice GUI either. Coupa or something like that, and I think they're using AWS. I think that's the name.
Well, you're supposed to be getting all your money transferred to your offshore banking account, so you don't have to pay taxes. That's what you're supposed to be working on, Tyler.
Oh my god, I don't know.
One more reason to leave these people.
Yeah.
For now, my government is just sending me money all the time. Just saying.
Your government's sending you money all the time?
Yeah, because of the COVID problems. Yeah. Like, because of the
Really?
COVID problems, like all the businesses are like collapsing and stuff, right? So, yeah. There's all like kind of like money things you can get from the government if you're a
So,
business.
like, the stimulus that we're supposed to get here, I guess.
Yeah, they have plenty of money in my country. They don't care. But it's just, I think they want to have like a certain sector of business out of business. Like they want to like destroy all like the shopping streets and stuff, and they want everyone to always buy stuff online. Like it almost looks like that. Like I don't think it has anything to do with the whole fax thing, with the whole disease, whatever. But I think it has to do with the economic thing. They are moving everything into like a digital economy. And I think it has to do like also with like how you call it macro planning of things. Like they have like a huge housing shortage. I think they're literally cleaning out the business shopping streets to build houses. Just saying. And we build, we will order everything online.
That's
Right?
it.
Yeah, now see, that's a
and
real
they're
estate
putting
deal there.
those, they're putting those Amazon Fresh stores everywhere, whatever it's called, the weird Amazon stores. I don't know. They're just weird.
No, but there is something else here. Okay, because we have Ahold, for example. We have Amazon, but there's also Ahold, right? Bol.com, and Bol.com is like our own Amazon, like the Dutch Amazon, but it's owned by Ahold. And Ahold also owns like huge supermarkets. And the thing is, these supermarkets, they don't have the restrictions on opening. For example, like all the stores are supposed to be closed until at 5. But the supermarkets are open as long as they want. And when or Amazon, like Bol.com, you can order something, you can pick it up until like late in the evening, right? So you can pick up your normal products at this specific company that only allows like online orders. And the normal businesses selling you like your TVs and stuff, they're not allowed to be open. They can't even compete because they're not open. Like, this is complete insanity, and they know what they're doing. Like, I know that for sure. They know this is planned. Because Because there are
Yeah.
businesses already complaining about this, saying like, yeah, this is unfair, right?
Yeah, that's been a complaint for a long time. Here I don't know what it's like over there, but like in the States, we're all supposed to be equal under the law. But
That's
that's been thrown out of the
Ah,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
yeah,
crazy
that
on
doesn't seem to
Alamo.
happen too often.
no, it's
Equal under the
opposite.
law.
Yeah, if you're somebody important or you got a lot of money, you can basically do whatever the fuck you want. True.
Yeah, say if you're, oh, I don't know, Bill Clinton or Donald Trump, you're fine, really.
Yeah, you can get away with anything, including insurrection.
And pedophilia.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. More has been revealed that Trump was buddy buddy with Epstein. No, he knew what was going on. Of course he did. Everybody knew.
I mean,
But
yeah.
it almost seems like he turned on Epstein at some point there and went, started to be I don't know about necessarily a snitch, but I mean, he did make some statements there, like 10, 12 years ago.
Uh, Possibly. I don't
Playing both
know.
sides. You gotta be the double agent in a mix of a bunch of double agents, So then you can be the triple agent.
A triple agent. You're like, I don't know which side I'm working for anymore.
Oh my
Yeah, I
god,
I
you're
don't even
like
know what the fuck I'm
two
doing. It's
steps
just all
away
about
from
me. So
saying Trump is playing 3D chess, Alamo, and I can't.
Trump is playing 3D chess. Why did he start taking his meth again?
No, bro, he's playing like 18D chess. Like, in reality, it's not Biden who's president, it's actually Trump. And then he's gonna come back in 2024 with like Ron DeSantis.
And
It's gonna be
JFK
awesome.
Jr.
Oh,
will
yeah,
appear.
don't forget JFK Jr., for fuck's sake.
hey, they had like 300 believers in Dealey Plaza, man. They're not fucking around.
They actually thought he would appear.
Yeah, man. I'm telling
Oh my
you,
god,
you can get
300 people!
no, look it up, man. There was a lot of folks there. There's some crazy motherfuckers
Oh
here in
my
Texas.
god, that actually hurts.
True. Maybe there's something about that location, it just messes everybody up for some reason. I don't know. It's a portal.
I can't believe that.
I mean, I don't think it's just Texas in general. I think there's a lot of stupid people out there. You know, a lot of
Oh
them,
yeah.
For sure.
a lot of
Texas
them came
got
out of
the
the woodwork
monopoly
during
on stupid
coronavirus.
people as long as Florida exists.
I think it's the whole coronavirus. They're like, oh look, we're gonna dive into the internet, and then we're gonna believe all the conspiracy theories, even if they're not real. And I think the coronavirus just took everybody out of all of the fucking wackadoos out of the fucking pot. It seems like there's a lot of them
Well,
out there
like
now.
5G did coronavirus, and
Jesus. Yeah,
because
exactly.
of that, the storm is coming, and everybody's getting arrested. Bill and Hillary Clinton aren't really there. I don't fucking know. I don't.
The reptilian people, right?
Yeah, it's just an orgy of bullshit, and then you're just supposed to find your way through. But most people can't. That's the beauty of their system is, it actually works. They throw enough dumb shit at you and all these neurotic mask wearers, and that's how you know they're neurotics. And there's a lot of them.
Oh man, and these people believe so many weird things. I should just tell them to sell magic rocks and tell them that it'll make all the conspiracies make sense and I'll make $1 million because I'm selling rocks to crazy people.
Get like a mildly deformed rock and just tell them that it came in the shape of a Q.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny.
Carve a Q in it. Now that probably sell. I mean, that's some off the wall shit I'd never come up with and make $1 million right there.
Well, you remember Pet Rocks? That made $1 million.
Yeah.
You just put tape, you just glue two googly eyes on a rock, and you make $1 million. You're welcome. Anyway, yeah, you just put two googly eyes on there. I don't know.
That would be like, selling Guy Fawkes mask. Of course, that would have been a niche market before Anonymous came. But then you would have been there and been ready to sell them.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like kind of strange, how everything went down. After COVID, it's not like the COVID part that scares me. It's the human behavior and the craziness.
Well, I mean, there's already going to be an entire generation of kids that's like completely fucked up from having to wear masks over them, so they don't know how to properly gauge like facial expressions.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like the lockdowns and everything and all the bullshit, like the social distancing and stuff, can't see your family during the holidays. It's like you're just taking a shit on people's mental health. It's like, oh, well,
They never factor that in, though.
to protect public health, we're gonna destroy your mental health and throw it in a volcano.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened, during World War II, but there was a generation there in Europe that was all fucked up. My grandfather said after the war, you can find a lot of stuff that you do rely on your daily needs. You couldn't find it for years. Fruit specifically, he said. Fruit was hard to come by.
In addition to all the other traumatizing things that are going on, then they deny you like what vitamin C in the fruits. It makes complete sense.
Yeah.
If you're megalomaniac.
Well, he said that, and communism came in, and and my uncle said that he told me, he said communism had its benefits. When his country got taken over by the Russians for 5 years. He said, you didn't have to worry about where you lived. He said, but you only had a choice for food and everything. You had only one choice. That was the downside. One choice for everything. And constantly there were always shortages of the one choice. One type of bread, one type of milk, one type of soda, one type of this. But just a gray world. Anyway, we're way off topic. And anybody hear me?
Yeah.
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 Dang it, that Mark, he was supposed to put the thing up again.
Is he sleeping? Mark?
Luby.
Oh, hey, I was unmuted. What thing should I put up? Sorry, guys.
I thought you fell asleep.
No, I had myself muted. I was replying a few times, but no one could really hear me.
Aww.
Yeah.
Well, I heard Alan was saying, what kind of thing should I put up?
Can I put up for what?
I think I got it wrong.
I know you said.
You said Mark was supposed to put a thing up or something.
Oh, yeah. Anytime there's dead air, you're supposed to have the banner go up automatically with the music.
Oh, yeah.
A funny one that I used to put up. It was the drunk cameraman. That was the funny one. The drunk cameraman cartoon. I put it up. Yeah, a few times when a few weird get like when Geo was coming on and stuff.
Yeah, but you are like this OBS specialist with all these like fancy things on the screen.
Yeah,
I don't have any of that.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that's what ABV had an actual outro.
Everything's
yeah.
super professional. When are you going to stream again, Tyler?
When I'm done paying off this house and I move out of where I'm at.
30 years,
Yeah.
huh? Damn. 30 year
No, no,
mortgage.
no, no. I'm buying a house in another
Around by
country.
then.
So. I only got like, I think I'll be done next week, and then I got to save up and get another place, get my own place out here. Just renting to save money, but I don't think that that's the thing. I think it's just buy something or get some. I can just make my own decisions on what kind of internet connection I have. So I just want to get something at least gigabit internet. But right now, I think the fastest I can download is like 20 or 30 megabit, and upload speeds it's like 1 megabit. So that's not even enough to stream. You know, you need at least. I mean, you can do it at like 800 kilobit. I mean, you can get like 420p, but I have a couple, I have different people using the same access point, so it doesn't exactly work out. I mean, I played around with it. It's not real. Other than watching videos and stuff like that, it's not really like the ideal streaming connection. Because VDSL2 can get fast, but whoever my landlord got her connection from, or whatever companies, I never actually seen the box. I never actually played around with the back end. I think it's an AT&T. Yeah, it's an old AT&T connection, and she never wants to upgrade it. So I'm just like, I'm like, okay, well, at least I have internet on some level.
Hey, yeah, but how is that in that other country? I won't say the name of it. Is like is that internet there, or is it
Internet there? Internet there is not fast. It's all they have all these weird latency issues and routing problems because they're used. I know the government filters the internet. That I know. But I'm almost convinced that their connection is all satellite. I think from the main telecom provider. So I think that that's why everything is so slow. I mean, you're lucky if you can get a 30 megabit connection. You're lucky, And that's not even great. It's 2021. You can get gigabit almost anywhere.
So the only provider is the government.
No. They have like as far as home internet, they got like 5 choices. So for the country, 44 million people, there's not much.
I mean, and they truly do it themselves, or does it go through some big Russian provider, or how does that work?
I don't know. I know there's a satellite connection. I just don't know where it's going to. I just know that the internet's filtered. Now the Twitter is banned in that country too. So
Oh damn.
yeah, that happened recently.
Now, what did Twitter do to them?
It had to deal with the elections. The president wanted to shut it down. So
Oh yeah, okay, that's right. This is part of their problem with market share, huh? They're pissing a lot of people off.
Yeah, and they also blocked. The elections were a while ago, so I think that I think there's a lot of laziness in their government, so I think that nobody got around to turning it back on. So I don't know.
Did you guys read that they're now going to get a new vaccine for the new variant, and it's going to be 3 new injections? Because I saw a little video from the pharma guy who said like, we have a new vaccine for the Omicron variant, and we are going to give you guys 3 new injections.
I heard one from Pfizer, the booster. I know that's planned, but I didn't hear about but that's only in stateside. Outside of the states, there are so many vaccines out there.
Okay, well here they're starting on the 3rd booster. I know in Israel they already have their 4th booster, and then there is like this new variant, and it's going to have like 3 new injections in here. They have to, so they need 7 injections to keep their freedom passport.
This is so ridiculous. Why don't the scientists just go back to the drawing boards, make a cure, not a band-aid? That's all I ask.
I can tell you, people are dropping out now. They're no longer wanting these vaxes, and like so
yeah,
at some point
people are starting to see it's ridiculous.
Well, they reached like 85% vaccinated here, right? 15% was denying it. They couldn't get higher than it. Now it is dropping again. People are refusing the boosters. They're saying like, no, you told us we will be fully protected with 2 injections. And now they're saying like, if you don't take the booster, you're losing your freedom passport. So people are saying like, no. You told us we were protected. We don't take any more of this, right? So people are dropping out now, and then they're planning these 4th booster, and they're planning like more injections. People are not going to do this.
This is ridiculous. This is so stupid. They need to go back to the scientists and all of the smart people who came up with this shit on the mRNA vaccines. Need to go back to the drawing boards and design a cure like we've done for every other major illness that's out there. Smallpox, measles, mumps, chickenpox. We've almost eradicated, chickenpox in 20 years, which is incredible. Smallpox took us 50 years to eradicate. Polio, almost eradicated. Still exists in Northern Africa to a degree. But we eradicated it within a matter of 10 years. Now, COVID, I think the scientists sold us, snake oil or partial snake oil, saying it's a cure. It's not a cure. It's a Band-Aid. If it requires multiple injections throughout the life, it is not a cure. We need a cure. They
getting a cure would imply that they actually care about us, and they don't.
No, they just want to keep on injecting us more. And I'm not opposed to taking the vaccines. I've already had my booster and all that. But if it comes down to, I got to do this every 6 months, and I at this point I've had a serious conversation with my friend. He's I don't think COVID's ever going away. He's I don't think so either. And I was talking to him. I was like, the governments and all of these other businesses that are, running around all of this regulation and stuff, if this is not going away, this is not how the world can run as usual. It's not sustainable. Countries locking out other countries because of this and that, and we need to get our heads together, go back to the drawing boards, and make a cure.
It's a great reset, Tyler. We're having a great reset, aren't you?
It's just I think realistically, I'm always throughout life I always have these weird problems, weird situations, and sometimes take a little pause and think about it. You might come up with a better solution rather than some guy who was researching mRNA vaccines in the 70s and documented it all. And one guy's like, I might have a cure. And then, he sells it to some politician or some pharma company. And the pharma's like, we got a cure. But it really wasn't a cure. It was a snake oil. It was a Band-Aid.
It was an international criminal fraud, is what it was. With our president as the front man for the whole operation. That's my view of it.
These people don't understand medicine, and they don't really understand science. The people that are making all these rules, and what we really need is just for the smart people to get their heads together and develop something different. And that may take a while, but we don't have that kind of time. The world doesn't have that kind of time.
What's taken so? This is my problem. What's taken so long for the alleged smart people to come around and realize they've been bullshitted around for 2 years?
I don't know. Really don't.
I mean, how many lies can they tell you before you realize that you're being lied to? And people can't figure that out.
I told one of my coworkers, he's like, yeah, now that we got the vaccine, we're not going to have to worry about COVID. And I just stared at him, and I was just like, this was like in January or something last January this year, and I told him, like, just because we got our shots doesn't mean that we're not going to get COVID. It just means we're not going to die, dude. Or, no, we have a less chance of dying.
Tyler, never forget 2 weeks to flatten the curve, bro.
I know, right?
Yeah,
2 weeks.
Yeah,
2
okay,
weeks.
but you don't even have to like go all to like in details and be like seen as some kind of like conspiracy guy. If you doubt this stuff, you can just use logic, right? I mean,
yeah.
If you use logic, like if this was really about healthcare, why aren't they curing like the hunger in Yemen? Like 2.4 million kids are like in hunger right now. Like we're doing these fundraisers. We raise like what $10,000 for these two guys, these Anons who are in Yemen, giving some food to these people. There's 2.4 million people in hunger, right? And then there is we are drinking these bottles with bottled water with like microplastics in it, the size of a hair. They're not stopping that. People have like microplastic the size of a hair in their body. No one talks about it. Then you have Fukushima still leaking radioactive material. No one talks about it, right? And you can go on and on with things. Like you have all the little healthy fruit drinks for kids filled with loads of sugar. That's literally murdering them with like some slow kill. I mean, you can go on and on with this bullshit. They don't care about public health. There's obviously another reason behind it. Maybe public health is some little extra with it, but there's obviously a different reason they're doing it. I mean,
well, that's the public health emergency orders are how they are getting away with all this, or they think they can get away with it, and apparently they are, because I mean, those are good for like 30 days, and here you are 2 years later.
These are the same people who like murdered 1 million people in Iraq, right? These are like indirectly or directly. I mean, okay, lots of people die because of the war and stuff, but like people are still being killed there right now because of the people they put in power, like ISIS and stuff and whatever. And they all know, they're all aware of it. And there's like people dying all over the world. There's like kids in Ivory Coast mining diamonds for these same people. And we are like dealing with some story about public health. Like, no. They just want you all. They want everyone just in this whole social credit score system. That's why this stupid thing came from China too. And because China already has the social credit score system, they model it. That's why they send their doctors over the entire world to teach the rest how to exactly implement all of this. Like they send their products over the rest of the world, like the respirators and everything. They teach all the local hospitals how to exactly deal with this and how to make it like a whole PR campaign.
You think it's like a, but I'm in the same position as you, Mark. Like I have to use my QR code on a daily basis now.
Yeah, fuck that. I don't even have the QR code, but I have to use it. Yeah, I can't even go to I can't go to a restaurant right now. I can't go to a bar. Like, I know I had like COVID like last year, right? So I have a natural immunity. I can just go like, this is like 3 houses away or something. There's like a testing booth. I can just go there, and they will see like I have immunity to it, and they will give me a QR code, right? But I don't want it. Like, so I was at McDonald's, for example, this a few weeks ago. I only drink coffee there, right? It's not like but
You're loving it. You're loving McDonald's.
So I was saying,
McDouble,
like,
you want a double bypass with cheese?
yeah, yeah, I know. So, well, I think about my health really much because I used to. So that's why. But so I was there and I asked like, so I can no longer get in without a QR soon, right? I mean, and this guy said like, I know you always come here, drink coffee, you're still welcome, right? I said like, no, I don't want to be welcome. I'm not going to sit here while other people can't go in, right? I'm not some collaborator. Like my family lived through the war, right? We can collaborate. Like you know what I mean, right, Tyler? I mean, you can't just sit there and look at people being like say like you're not welcome or something. It's not going to happen. So I never visit McDonald's after that anymore. I'm not going to. Let's say giving them one, but they're not worth $1 for me. So
I've seen them kick out, not let people, in the restaurants. I've seen them people not in the grocery stores.
Yeah, I was really sad.
I mean,
I saw this video.
What they try to do is like if you dine in, if you're like eating inside, then you have to show your papers. But like if you're outside, then I guess it's good. That's how it is.
But it's cold outside, and I don't want to eat outside.
Yeah, so I saw this little video too. This older lady she was like super old. She was like 90 years old, and she was not allowed to go on the bus because she didn't have like a QR code. And you could see in her face she didn't even understand what it was, and she didn't have a smartphone and everything either. It's like she wanted a QR code, but she didn't have a smartphone and she didn't know how it worked. And she wasn't welcome in the bus, right? And these police were like so rude to this lady, but you could obviously see in her face that she didn't understand even what was going on. But I did know she was old enough that she lived.
Like,
I did know that she was.
These are people that grew up without smartphones, and you expect them to adapt to a whole QR code system? Oh my god, these people are fucking idiots.
Not just that, because I know for a fact that this lady was like 8 or 9 years old during World War II, and she actually lived under Nazi oppression. So you're going to make this lady have her last years of her life living like, okay, the Nazis are back or something. Like that's what it's going to remind her of. That's all it's going to remind her of. I'll tell you that. This was in Italy under Mussolini. And she was from Italy too.
It seems like to me, back then it's like there was like more sides, and you had an enemy, one side or the other. But today it's like your government has made you the enemy, so now everybody's the enemy. Now it doesn't matter what race you are, whether it's just like these blanket orders. They're basically filtering out the sheep. And there's a lot of them. Because you can't tell them, look, 2 weeks to flatten the curve is probably a lie. Don't fall for it. Oh, what do we hear? Oh, Mister, you're the conspiracy theorist. Okay, well then we move on, and now it's just like, oh well, it's just for 30 days because we have an emergency order. Everybody goes, well, okay, yeah, and you say, oh well, here we go. It was 2 weeks, now it's month. Well, here you are 2 years later. How can you still be the conspiracy guy? How's that possible? And you're still like the odd man out because everybody's still buying all the government bullshit. And they're getting pissed off at it because it is bullshit, but they still don't seem to realize that they need to stop believing.
Yeah, well, because it's like a lot of people, they put up with the restrictions because it was like, we're gonna get back to normal, yay! Like hopefully.
We're not getting back to normal.
Put up with that shit to get back to normal, and then shit's not back to normal. So they're like, what the fuck? You told me this would get us back to normal, and now it's not happening. But they still keep putting up with it because it's like little by little. So it's not enough to piss people off that much.
The world's never going to be the same, and until they develop a cure, they need to develop a cure. Then we will never have to deal with this shit again. But for now, we're stuck with this.
There's never going to be a cure because the enemy has figured out the cure for you is to keep feeding you bullshit because you'll believe it and you'll keep going along.
Yeah, and if
they win.
And if the so-called COVID thing is fixed, they will come up with something new to remove your entire rights again. Like they will continue and go on and on. Like I know.
Yeah, if they can make 30-day emergency orders last for 2 years, they win.
Yeah, but
That's
you
a big
guys,
win for the enemy. You know.
you guys from America, right? You guys know that this didn't start with the COVID shit. This started with the 9/11 shit, and even before that, the 9/11 shit. They started to remove our human rights, and they just continued. And people were sick and tired of the whole terrorist story, and they just switched it to the viruses on every corner. First they said like, yeah, the terrorists are on every corner, and now they just say a virus is on every corner. There's no fucking difference. They just do the same thing. That's what I think about it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
probably terrorists are real. They can murder you, and the virus can murder you too. But they're just using it for their own little story. Yeah.
Well, and said terrorists were funded by the CIA.
Yeah, well, this virus probably too. It's like,
The problem you got on this one is it's like, okay, like I say, it's not like, oh, some rogue government or fascist or, you know, whoever you want to blame. It's like all these governments are going in on it together. You know, so all governments are basically the enemy now.
yeah,
You know, they're
but
all doing it to you.
yeah, I'm going to like, okay, I'm going to sound like totally like some QAnon guy right now, right? But you know, like the fascism and like communism, right? Back then in the early 20th century, were both anti-fascist movements, right? And Mussolini, like I saw Hamza mention Mussolini. Well, Mussolini's ghostwriter was Giovanni Gentile, who was the writer of the biography of Karl Marx, right? And for his biography of Karl Marx, he was cheered on by Lenin and his supporters. He got 2 medals from Lenin and his supporters because he presented his ideology, fascism, as the way to introduce communism in Europe, right? It was a mixture of the corporation, the so-called capitalist market would be taken over by corporations, and they would connect with the state, and those was the takeover and introduction of communism in Europe. And now you see people like Angela Merkel from Germany, who was a part of the communist youth as a kid, right? And she's full-blown, she was always part of the communist movement. And she is like pushing this really hard, this whole system. And then when you notice that this is actually coming, social critical system is actually coming from Maoist China, then I'm considering that this is actually not a capitalist group at all, even though they're billionaires. They're going to they're trying to introduce something completely different, and it's like a new way, new form of like global communism. I don't even want to call it communism because it's not really communism. It's like their interpretation of it. It is kind of like they're going to remove capitalism for all of us, but they're going to stay rich, of course, and powerful.
It's the
Yeah, it's
public-private partnership. It's the stakeholder capitalism, the new global governance, all of that bullshit.
I don't believe that is capitalism. They call it stakeholder capitalism or something, but it is like post-capitalism, and it's like corporations already took part of the capitalist market. They were like the only ones surviving on this capitalist market. Like 5 big pharma and all the smaller pharma already gone, and these 5 big pharma then start making deals with each other, and they start buying themselves power outside of the capitalist market, and they buy themselves in with the government, and then the government buys themselves in with them, and they're like mixed with each other, and that is pretty much just fascism. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just IG Farben under Hitler, Volkswagen under Hitler, which were on the for the public eye, they were capitalist companies. They were selling cars, but in private, they were all part of it. They were the only ones allowed to sell cars. The rest were taken away. So yeah, it's just
Yeah, we've seen has
Well, I mean,
this
the fascism is being branded as the public-private partnership, though, which is like, come on.
but it is not a part. It is not a voluntary partnership either.
Yeah.
It's not like we have built some big company and say like, oh, let's partner up with these people. No. This is just suddenly they have one big front, and it's the corporations, billionaires, states, and all the states are introducing the same stuff globally even on the same dates. It's like we had these restrictions. September 15th, we were no longer allowed to go anywhere and stuff. I was surprised by it. Then I saw it was the same in 17 countries on the 15th. The exact same implementations, and not even just all European countries saying like, "Oh, this is a European Union thing." No. This happened also in like countries in Asia at the same exact time.
Yeah, when I was in Istanbul recently, about Was it? Oh no, it wasn't recently. That was months ago. Yeah, they were doing HES codes. Same thing, QR codes. For who had the virus or not. Yeah, it was fucking weird. Just even go into the malls, you had to have a QR code scan to make sure that you weren't infected. Like, so this is it's not just one country; it's all of them.
Yeah, well, they can push myself or all of us away as like QAnon conspiracy freaks or whatever. I don't really care. I know I have a really good feeling about this, that in the sense that I think I'm right about this, and we're going to see this happening, and they're going to make it far more public than they're doing right now. Saying like, but the Klaus Schwab is already saying it, like saying like you will own nothing and you will be happy, right? That's just also.
Yeah, how do here's what I don't get. You got a guy like Klaus Schwab telling you that he's self-appointed himself as your new leader. Well, where are all the governments in the European Union saying, no, you're not. We're actually the government. But nobody seems to push back. It's like, okay, well, hey, the guy said it. I guess if he's got enough money and he can buy everybody off, I guess he really is the fucking planetary leader,
Yeah, he is the planetary leader now, Klaus Schwab. He's like, yeah.
I mean, if you could say it and actually start doing it, you're the man, Just be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how does he get away with that without? Well, it's the same thing here. How do they get away with all this stuff without all these representatives and all these senators just standing around doing nothing for 2 years? Now, is that a reasonable response? Same thing with all these other governments worldwide. It's like, here you are 2 years down the line. It's like, and these capitals aren't burning yet. Why?
Oh yeah,
how long are you going to be
when they had the
bullshitted to and fucked around, before you realize what's going on?
Remember with all those vaccine mandates, and then we couldn't even get Congress to fucking take all those fucking vaccines. So if the people in charge of the fucking make all the rules for us can't even follow the fucking rules, why should we? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it was like Gavin McFuckass and his little Christmas dinners while he was forcing everybody to mask up. Like, of course they're not going to follow the rules they set for us.
Yeah, and what's the deal? You can't get this guy recalled? How many recalls have there been? And just magically, you got all this big push, but then, people still love him and, just can't seem to get rid of the guy, I mean, it sounds like the numbers are rigged to me.
Well, I mean, yeah, there was definitely rigging in that because mail-ins, on top of the fact that mail-ins where there's not a secure chain of custody, on top of the fact that there were so many PR campaigns coming into California trying to push the same lesser of two evils narrative, where it's like, oh, if Gavin McFuckass gets recalled, then a fascist is gonna come in. No, you can just recall the fucker. Yeah, it's
Been saying that a long time, and they haven't recalled anybody in a long time. And it's not just him. I mean, okay, you can get rid of one guy, but that's not going to solve the problem out there.
Oh yeah, of course not. But I mean, it would have felt nice.
Yeah, I need something.
Just one dub. The dub we're hopefully gonna take in a couple hours with the verdict.
What the fuck?
Somebody put up the banner.
Oh no, there's a sign here that says Netflix is a joke festival. That's hilarious.
What?
Yeah. Well, welcome to Los Angeles.
Hey, what should we do?
I don't know.
We need to launch our super weapon, Mark. That's what we need to do so that we can win. The cyber super hack.
Yeah. Okay. So on that, we were. I shouldn't say we. Like the people were able to delay the QR thing a bit, or like there were fake QR profiles made, right? Like the QR card for Adolf Hitler, a QR code for Mickey Mouse and stuff. So technically they would scan you, and Hitler was like double faxed in Poland, right? Because the Polish system was broken, was hacked. So yeah, and if you're like, okay, so it's still European Union, right? So if you have a Polish system hacked, it's valid in all European countries. But yeah, that's only a delay thing.
What was Hitler vaxxed against?
Freedom.
I was trying to think what was hot. Did they have? They had. I think it was not smallpox. That was 60s. Polio. Then it would have been polio. It's the only one I can think of.
What was that? What Hitler's disease was?
I
Did
don't
they
know, I
push a
didn't-
vaccine back then?
I don't know. Yeah, actually they did with polio. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yep, they did force that on everybody.
Yeah, well, they did use a similar story against the Jews, right? They said like these people spread disease and stuff. That's what they did do. So they can no longer be at market. I don't know what disease it was, but it was a disease too they were scared of back then. They were saying Jewish people were spreading it. And it was kind of similar in what they're doing now. I'm not talking about the high level people, but I'm just the people who want to go to the market or whatever. Saying like, yeah, you're spreading disease, you're not welcome here anymore. It's very sickening. But yeah, so there are discussions about that too. We're not allowed, like in my own country, there's very tough discussion on that, right? Because we're very close to Germany, and we're not allowed to make the comparison with what happened during the war and stuff. But then more and more are like speaking out. Like a lot of Jewish people are speaking out, saying like, well, actually, the only reason the comparison is not entirely valid, and that you can't say we see like the same start of what's happening, is because actually, if you compare it, we're already years in, right? What they're doing to people, like. It took them during the war occupation here. It took them years to implement these same things that they are now implementing with us in a super short time. Like the people would never agree to certain things this early on during the war. Like you in Germany, you see like a very slow process of dehumanizing people, propagating against people, and this took from the way early 30s deep into the 1940s before they were able to like publicly like move people away in trains and stuff into camps and ban them from property. Like in Germany, I think the Nazis started with that whole campaign like I think 1932 or 1933. It took until 1941 for them to be able to implement these things. I think it was here it was September 15, 1941, that they were banning Jewish people from restaurants and marketplaces. And that is like 9 years after, or 8 years after that campaign started. And now it is just 1 year, and they're already doing it to unvaxxed people, people who don't take the shot. It's a better word.
We like to make all these comparisons with the past, but how does anybody in any one of these countries explain how their government is doing it to them now? So where are these? There's no, there's who are the bad guys to point to? It's your own government doing it to you. It's not like Germany's doing it to the Netherlands, or Netherlands is doing it to Belgium. I mean, there's no. It's not an enemy and a force in that way. Now it's your own government doing it to you. But like to everybody though. and nobody wants to blame royals, and nobody's really pointing the blame at their own governments, in any big way. There's protests and whatnot, but
Yeah.
it's just I just see it as a strange response. You're 2 years in,
Well,
and
I
it's just
mean,
a
and
strange response.
governments are kind of like puppets too in the grander scheme of things.
Yeah, but they don't have to be. That's the thing. They're voluntary puppets. I mean, because the government does have the whole power structure set up. Like, when you talk about Germany, or you talk about Netherlands, or you talk about the USA, there is a U.S. Army, for example, right? And there are executive powers. There are people in the offices. Technically, like, if you think about it like that, they could just send soldiers in and take out all these people. They don't do that because they're voluntarily puppets, I think. I'm just talking about the normal people, like generals, etc. They're who are not into this, who are not involved with this at the top level. It's like, yeah, like we do have an army, right? I mean, it doesn't take that much, but this is like an elite of like a few hundred people.
Yeah, but you rarely see an army turn on its government. I mean, it has to really go bad.
But
They
okay,
don't seem to. Otherwise, they're bought
It
off.
happened in Venezuela about a year ago, but not all of them. Not all of them went rogue, though. That's the problem. Only some of them.
Yeah, they seem to be part of the problem, not the solution.
Yeah.
Well, look at all the cops worldwide. They all do the same thing. Same orders, same response. Different country. It always looks the same. You could take one of these videos and you could put any country on it, any city. It all looks the same now.
Yeah, pretty much. Same shit, different country.
Can't. Yeah, it's just that group that you talk about at the top. Whether you try to disguise the guys in the shadow with capitalism or socialism or communism, the rich guys at the top are always, they're always there. They're always making money. So you're only presented with this, allegedly different government, but it's all cover for the other people.
Hey, but
Now they're very out in the open about it. Now it's like we're taking over.
True. Well, you do say like you don't really see like an army turning on the government, but you do see like in history you do see governments turning on its elite, right?
Happened in Hungary.
Yeah. So that does happen, and the government pretty much controls the army, and it does happen that they turn on their elite. You see in South America, you saw a lot of that too, I think, in the past. So it is possible. I could say like Leninist workers' revolution stuff is all controlled. Yeah, it's probably true. But you say like it does happen that their elites get hunted. I mean, the Russian royal family got murdered too, right?
Yeah.
So you need like a trigger moment on that.
When's the last time there was a big revolt with the army and the armed forces against the government in the Netherlands?
Yeah, that's such a long time ago. But we did eat our prime minister once.
Oh yeah.
Eat? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not even.
That's funny.
When was that?
That was he was the Johan de Witt, the leader of the Dutch Republic. He was around. He was murdered and cannibalized by a mob in 1672.
Oh man!
Wait, they ate him?
Yeah.
They ate him?
Yeah, they ate their leader.
He said cannibalized, Tyler.
Yeah, come on. See, that's a shit bag.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a different level of fucked up. Yeah, I killed him. You're like, I killed him and then I ate him. I'm like, what? Oh my god.
See, you're just not like your parents. You gotten soft.
Yeah.
That's soft because you're not eating your victims.
I guess maybe this guy was really bad. I mean, I guess the rage of 1672, man, is just like holy cow, man.
Yeah, we've gotten softer over the years,
Yeah, well, back then we had like this whole freedom war going on, like against the Spanish and stuff. Like the Dutch were occupied by Spanish and things, right? We had this whole resistance leader, which is now the Dutch royal family, right? William of Orange, and this guy was, yeah, assumed to be plotting to kill this guy, to kill William of Orange. So then the mob just ate him.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But
That's almost as funny as the Jamestown, not the Jamestown massacre, was the Jamestown Jamestown incident where I don't know. That's almost as if you know anything about that, where they accidentally put psychedelic herbs in the city's community when they had a festival and everybody started hallucinating. That's almost as funny as that.
Yeah, but we used to have like punishments, like crazy punishments. Like, in France they would like cut off their heads like, with a guillotine, right? But in here they would just tear your body into like 4 pieces, right? They would.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they would
People
tie.
had some wild punishments. They used to like put people in a sack with a bunch of animals and then throw the sack into the river.
Yeah, well, they would. Okay, so they would use 4 horses, right? And they would tie your legs to a horse, and like your arms, and they would just, tear you apart. That was the punishment here, the capital punishment.
Jesus, Dutch don't fuck around.
Yeah.
That sounds like medieval capital punishment.
Yeah, but it wasn't medieval. It's much later.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're talking about the 1800s and stuff, 1700s.
So what did you have to do to get that done to you? You had to kill somebody, or not paying your royal tax? What was the?
No, you had to do something really, really bad. But okay, so one guy was actually there's a good example of it. That's the guy who killed William of Orange, right? Balthasar Gerards was his name. He killed. He got a gun as a present from William of Orange, which is like the ancestor of the Dutch royal family, right? He got like a gun as a present, and then at some day he just decided to shoot him with it. So he shot him, and he was publicly split into 4 pieces by horses. But there was plenty of other examples of people, but those are like the really big ones, right? Like, you have to be like some Epstein kind of figure. But like, okay, so the capital punishment is really bad, right, Preston? But it's like, you have to imagine that this is a different time where there were not cameras in the streets everywhere, right? You didn't have to carry your ID card. Not everything was surveilled. Your phones were not listened to, and it was very different.
You didn't have phones.
No. So on one side you have the punishment is really harsh, but on the other side you can imagine you had far more freedom than you have now. You were like in less health, and the rules were stricter, and you had less human rights even. You had far more freedom because there was not a surveillance system, complete control system. So yeah, for you to be caught with anything, you have to be pretty retarded too.
Well, then you got to. Well, then we go. We'll find another way. We'll get religious, and it's like, you're a Lutheran and I'm a Catholic. We can't have that.
Yeah, but you had all these kind of weird things, like you were allowed to be like you could be a pirate too, right? You could just be a pirate. You just get your own ship, and you would just be pirating on the oceans, and you would just capture like English ships and murder like French people and Spanish on a ship.
Fuck yeah.
And then you return, and you would just say like, well, okay, I'm a pirate, but I will give 20% to you guys, to the royal family, and they would be just okay with it, right? So you have just like legal pirates back then. Like you could be a real pirate and not have loyalty to anything, or you could just become like a paid pirate. Like that's how the shit worked back then. And many people like if you look at the history of like the Dutch royal family, for example, who are obviously in power still here, right? They have a history of doing all these shady deals with people. They had also like a majority stake in the cocaine factory during World War One. Like they produced legal cocaine, and they weren't scared of the Americans either. By the way, they did a lot of shitty things to the Americans too. Like they blocked American access to cocaine plantations, like in certain islands, because they didn't like the competition. So Dutch got like cocaine plants and seeds and stuff from these locations like Colombia and stuff, and they started building cocaine plantations in like Java, Indonesia, and to avoid any competition, they just blocked the Americans from these islands and these areas, so they weren't able to produce their own cocaine. So what Dutch then did during World War One, they provided cocaine to all the sides fighting with each other. They provided cocaine to the English, to the Germans, to the French, to the Americans in the battlefield. Liquid cocaine. And they were those were just put in the those were given by the medics, right? And they were also legally for sale in London in little bottles.
But yeah, cocaine has a lot of medical uses, but mostly for surgery and anesthesia.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, before that you had like the cough syrup with heroin in it and stuff, and Dutch also produced amphetamines, for example, later on. And these are the same factories, and that main cocaine factory is now on the location in Amsterdam. That factory doesn't exist anymore, but the location is now being used by the Hells Angels.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they have their headquarters there. Yeah.
It used to be in like San Bernardino. I think from that documentary I watched, but yeah, I haven't seen a Hell's Angel in years. Yeah.
Now, is there any chance, Mark, that these same royals who would do something like that would sign shady deals with like a big pharma company and then force it on you?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because
Think they do that?
Yeah, because especially they were already always into the pharma stuff, right? Looking at the cocaine and stuff, and they were already always involved with that, with the medical business. So that would be really a thing they would do, definitely. I'm not talking about the British royal family. I know Dutch royal family would totally do that stuff. It's safe to say, look, if you look at their history too. So yeah, no, definitely. Oh yeah, and another thing, we had Prince Bernhard from the Netherlands, by the way, who during World War II was a PR guy for IG Farben for a while. Just saying. IG Farben was the German big pharma, and that is now called Bayer. Bayer Monsanto, actually. But yeah. Yeah, that was IG Farben, and Prince Bernhard was involved with it. And Prince Bernhard is also the founder of the Bilderberg Conference in 1953, I think. Because that is named after Bilderberg hotels, and the Dutch royal family has had a majority stake in the Bilderberg hotels. Like they even had like this little orange crown as their symbol, the Bilderberg. So yeah, I'm not convinced. I'm not surprised by any of that. You know, this is just how they are. I'm not saying either that this is just all about dictatorships. This is also about they just know how to make money really fast and how to be influential really fast.
Yeah.
Because the Dutch, at the Bilderberg conferences, for example, the former Queen Beatrix, she wouldn't go there as the Dutch Queen either. She would go there as the representative of Royal Dutch Shell, the oil company. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, on the list she is listed as representing a Royal Dutch Shell. She is their PR guy, PR girl. Royal Dutch Shell is huge, of course.
I didn't know anything about the cocaine use. The cocaine farms. That was funny.
I do, and it is all this is all on public record. This is not like conspiracy, whatever. This is like really this is well recorded, and you can find about this too. You can even search on Google. It's not hidden or anything. Just to search for a Dutch cocaine factory. Like there's no conspiracy. Like because it's that long ago, they're not hiding that kind of stuff. But there is certain stuff that they do hide, and that is gets way worse. So
Oh, you're talking about the atom bomb that partially blew up in Antarctica when they were testing out the Enola Gay with the two bombs, and then the Dutch government and the U.S. Got rid of the evidence. You ever hear about that? And it only came out during a FOIA request.
no, I didn't, but that's very interesting.
Yeah. The plane went down, and one of the bombs partially exploded, but it didn't cause a full. It didn't go supercritical. I mean, it did go supercritical, but didn't have full detonation. But yeah, the U.S. and the Dutch government got rid of all the evidence. Took a couple hundred guys flying down there with trucks and shit to get rid of the snow that was radiated. Partial detonation isn't super huge, like the size of a couple city blocks, but you still got to get rid of that evidence, you know?
I mean, that's still a pretty, like, a sizable bomb at least.
Yeah. But, like, a lot of I think the hydrogen or the uranium ones that they were using at the time, they had, like, 18 charges that would, bomb towards that would blow up the metal to compress so that it would create fusion and explode. But that didn't happen, so it was just a partial detonation. Yeah, that one was covered up.
Okay. I didn't know about that, but I do know that they're very good at manipulating Dutch people. Yeah. Like you don't have a big army, so you do all these tricks to do it. Like you keep an entire population under control by using trickery, and it actually works. Like imagine you
guys.
Go ahead.
Don't you guys still control Greenland?
I think that's Denmark.
Denmark, yeah.
Oh, Denmark, yeah.
Dutch colonized South Africa, Indonesia, Suriname, Dutch Antilles. Originally New Amsterdam to New York. Yeah, some rivers are named by Dutch people in America. You have Tasmania is named. That's with Australia, is named after Abel Tasman. You have close to North Pole is a huge area was discovered by Dutch people. At some point they were very powerful, but granted that's not exactly the.
With Nagasaki in Japan, I think it was one of the port cities.
Yeah, and well, you had a little. Okay, so the Japanese didn't want to trade with anyone. They hated Portuguese. Well, the Portuguese were the only ones who were coming there, but they were hated by the Japanese. They threw them off mountains and stuff. So Dutch were the only ones to be allowed to trade with them, and they did from this little island called the Jima. It was a Dutch island. It was actually a Japanese, but was taken by the Dutch, and they were trading from that island with Japanese. For some reason, they only allowed Dutch to trade with them. I don't know why. But probably because they learned from the
something because like they were Protestant and everybody else was like fucking Catholic. I don't know.
Well, they learned from the Portuguese approach too, right? Which was obviously failing, so they used the opposite method, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. Like in Australia, till we like introduced the euro coin here. There were like in Australia were like still like 7 coins traded, including like the Dutch guilder was like a valid currency. This is only till like the 1990s or something was still a valid currency. So yeah, they were certainly influential at some point. But granted, is like this was not just the Dutch. Actually, it was just because Dutch invented the stock market. So. Investors came from all over, like Europe. They came to the Dutch, and they invested their money, and they also brought in private armies and stuff. So they were like kind of like the first globalists, to be honest. Yeah, and they also created Benelux, right? The first agreement between 3 countries in Europe. which is the predecessor of the European Union. Many would say like the European Union is the steel and coal union between France and Germany, but the first three countries actually working together are Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg, which are the two largest harbors and the largest banking scene in Europe. Because Luxembourg is like the largest banking area, and Dutch banking world is really big too. So yeah, I don't know. That's also a reason why the United Nations stuff is all here, right? And why the European Union headquarters is in Belgium and stuff. Like, they see this as like the heart of their little globalist thing they got going on. Yeah. And
You know, it seems odd that nationalism has kind of fallen out of favor, and yet we have this like big push for like a European Union, like we're all together. It's like, well, wait a minute, what happened? We're all united as this, but we can't be, we can't think positive about our own countries.
Yeah, but look also, if you now go think about it, like about the whole PR thing, right, Preston? Like, so they put the heart of the UN and the globalist empire stuff, they put it in Netherlands and Belgium, right? And then they make it's so that in these countries there are almost no laws and you can do anything you want. You can like smoke weed and stuff, you have open prostitution and everything. So these people are extremely happy, right? So you're saying that you're making sure that they will never resist. Like, okay, so we have the heart of the UN, globalist empire here, but we're not going to resist because we're the fucking freest country on the planet. It's like,
Well, that would make sense if you actually had a union like that. But the union you got into, that's not where you're going with all this.
no, it's going.
I mean, it's like you get another layer of bureaucracy, another layer of bullshit that nobody voted for. You got these reps, but nobody voted for them, and now their law supersedes your law. I mean, I don't know why anybody would go for it.
But I mean, how many people recognize that?
The guys at the top.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, now they're moving all in that direction. Complete dystopia shit.
Yeah, so they got you to do that. So now it's like you're literally in their hands. I mean, if you fall for that, you'll fall for anything. And they're proving that it's correct. They can openly tell you where they're going and do it, and nothing really bad happens, to them, to make them stop.
Yeah.
It'll get worse.
I don't think you can stop these people anymore with any army. You need the public resistance, like civil disobedience, mass civil disobedience. Yeah, I don't know. What country?
How about the cannibalism of 1672? Is that the? I think that'd stop it. Hey, if you had a few shitbag politicians end up like that, I guarantee you they would get a different. They'd come to work the next day with a different attitude. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Like shit. I don't want to die. Oh well, hey, now we have an understanding, right?
Yeah, there's definitely people who are ready to do that, right? Of course.
Yeah, all the guys that lost their businesses for no good reason, or died from a bad shot for no good reason.
Yeah, but that's why so they still try to protect that too. And that's what we said earlier on, and that what Tyler is also saying, that what we're supposed to do in the U.S. provide like a safety net. That is what they're doing here. That's how they're stopping it. But you're not going to be rich of it. Like, you lose your business and you make like what, $10,000 a month or something, and you can live really wealthy. You lose everything. They're providing a safety net, and you get like $1,000 a month or something. You can eat and everything, and you can still live in your house or whatever. But yeah, you're pretty much being owned by the state at that point. They can decide to take it away.
And they're one step away from effing you over real good at that point. And they will. It might take a few years. They'll get you used to it. And then what happens when they pull that from under you?
Yeah, but they make it so. Yeah, but they make it so that you still feel like, oh, I got lucky that I got the support. That's how they kind of do it. Like they make you feel like, yeah, okay, so I'm getting help, right? I'm not going to be like living on the streets or whatever. The government's helping me.
To me, it just looks like people really misunderstand what's really going on. They don't see where all this is going and how bad it's going to get, and so you're going to put up, with all this bullshit, for what? Like it's going to get better. You keep hoping it's going to get better, and it keeps getting worse. Well, don't you get it? But you never get it. That's what's stunning. They don't realize how much danger they're truly in and where all this goes to, and the position that they're already in because they let it get to this point.
Yeah. It's yeah, I don't know. It is the very difficult psychology too. Because the majority of people are like they're brought in this huge scare thing that everything that like calms them down or something makes them complicit. It's like it's very difficult to deal with. Like you put like this constant scaring people like, yeah, okay, there's this virus everywhere and stuff, and yeah, we can save you. Take all these different jabs, like take these 17,000 jabs, you will be safe. And then saying like, yeah, okay, so yeah, we have to close your business because yeah, there's at the risk of everyone getting sick and stuff. But okay, so here's $1,000 a month, so you can still live and you don't have to work anymore. And then these people, like, they get this psychology going on, like, they have this safety feeling for some reason. Like, no matter how bad it is, like this little bit of safety feeling calms them down and makes them completely complicit. It's a very, very weird cult programming that's going on, and it is very effective on them. So yeah, I can't.
Yeah, I'm amazed. When I look at some of this, it's just like how you wouldn't think that a trick that simple could be that effective. That's my problem with it. It's just like, man, people got to be smarter than that. You can't, put out a bunch of crap that you tell some little 2 or 3 year old kid. Of course, they don't know any better. You can trick them, but it's the adults now. It's like, how can this weak ass shit that they keep pushing actually tricks you? How does that happen?
Yeah.
And the answer to that is not good.
Yeah, this is so difficult. Edward Bernays, right? Propaganda specialist, Edward Louis Bernays. He was like this cigarette salesman guy. He was his uncle was Sigmund Freud, right? A specialist in trauma-based psychology. And this is such a super powerful propaganda method that they are using this trauma-based psychology thing, this fear-based strategy. That Edward Bernays, like, if you look into that stuff, he wrote a few books about engineering of consent, for example. These people are so well trained at it that they know exactly what to do. They use these short trigger words too, very short trigger sentences, and like I try to talk to people to get them out of this stuff, and like they lose their attention after 2 sentences. You can't get through to them anymore. You have to like they have this automatically distancing from it. They don't want to hear it. They trust whatever this establishment tells them is the ultimate truth, and whatever we tell them is just whatever conspiracy, fake news, everything. Or we're not educated enough, or we are just whatever. So yeah, I had some success with people, and that is, for example, like, I know how these fear triggers work, right? When you say like don't take the vaccine or whatever, they think like, if I don't take the vaccine, I will lose all my rights. I will be at risk of dying of virus. I will lose this, I will lose that. Everyone will hate me because I'm a crazy conspiracy guy. I will have no rights anymore. So that creates this ultimate fear that even makes them want to take this thing even more. So you have to like actually show them there is a world after. Like, so when I say like, okay, maybe you should take it yet, and afterwards, when you refuse it, just come drink a coffee here or call me or something. It actually works way better. They have like this that easy, right? It has like this calming effect that there is something else after that. It is such a weird fear programming that you can also you can combat it kind of by providing them safety after the fear moment. It's like, but this takes like years and years of study to actually know how to deal with these scientists.
Yeah, you know, their reaction to this Omicron variant was fucking ridiculous. They don't even know whether it was good or whether it was more dangerous or whatever. So they just started shutting down fucking countries. You know, I don't think there is any end in sight, really. You know, not with this stuff.
No, because this is not about any facts or science or anymore. It's all, you know, social engineering and political science. You know, there is no justification for what's going on. You know, and so how long can you be lied to before you realize that you're being lied to? You know, we're going on 2 years. You know, but you know, in my mind, it's just like, you know, even if you're gullible, let's say, it shouldn't take you 2 years to figure out you're being lied to. You know.
Yeah. So I've been trying to observe like these different things, like, and then argue from outside of the health perspective, right? When they're saying like, you're not allowed to be in some store together with like vaccinated people, whatever, and I'm thinking like, okay, but now I'm still thinking from the health perspective, right? But what is their goal behind it? And I am thinking like, well, actually, they are keeping the people who are against this away from the people who are in favor of this, or who are following up with this. I'm not allowed to be in a public place, in a restaurant or in a bar. These are like the places where there's like most discussion going on about subjects, right? Like when you talk to people, you do it like in a bar or in a restaurant, you discuss about the situation. We're not allowed to be in the same place. And I'm thinking this is for them, not for us, because they want to keep them in this whole situation. And they don't want this outside influence, kind of like the cult mentality, to talk with them. And then I noticed like they're saying like you're not allowed to have more than 2 people in your house at the same time. I think like they don't want too many outside influence into these people. Like
they don't want you assembling. They don't want you talking. Well, yeah, for obvious reasons. You know, because if they can break you apart, you know, it works to their favor. You know, that's what I mean. You have to realize that at some point here, there's a filtering and a grooming process going on, and the government is basically, you know, pushing the compliance narrative and who can be the biggest sheep and all that, and somehow it's working. You know, that's what gets me. It's just like it's not about public health anymore. And if you can't see that, you're friggin' retarded.
Yeah, and
so that, you know, they're grooming you into a bigger stooge, a bigger dupe, so that we can really tell you what to do down the road.
Yeah, and I even think this booster thing and this new there's like we have a new flavor of virus, we have a new booster every few months, and it almost is like an assembly thing. Like everyone has to now like an appel, like what you have at the military, right? In the morning you have to all assemble at some place, right? And then they have this whole compliance test going on. Is everyone still complying with the code? And then they're testing, like what is the status? And if you don't comply, you lose everything. Like you have to say like yes sir, and if you don't, you lose everything. Every few months, a new booster.
It's just
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like cult programming thing going on, right? You have to assemble all the cult members, and those who don't comply are out of the cult. You lose all your rights, everything.
Yeah, look what they did to the first responders. Oh man, at the beginning, oh man, you guys are the heroes. Oh yeah, we need you. Blah blah blah. And then a year later, well, if you bastards don't take this vaccine, you're fired. Well, what happened? We thought we were heroes. What happened?
Yeah, I mean,
I
all
mean,
the
it's just
years
total
that
manipulation.
admitted it.
In 1 year, they can flip the good guy to the bad guy, and everybody goes along and say, "Well, yeah, they're health professionals. They need to be taking the vaccine." I don't want to be threatened by that. Some stupid shit like that.
Meanwhile, they're listening to Bill Gates.
It's ridiculous. People got to grow up. That's really the solution. Grow up. Quit being a dupe. Quit being a mark. You know. Be an adult. Stand up for your rights. Do something, man. Be going along with this shit because it's not getting any better. Have you noticed? It's not getting any better. How about that?
I mean, the more you comply, the more they're just gonna toy with you.
They got you. The government, the people, whoever buys them off, has figured out that they can do this to you, and there's really no pushback. No pushback that they recognize that scares them. They're not stopping. And then you see all these, alt reporters like, well, we got them on the run. We got them scared now. It's like, we got 100,000 people out on the streets. We got 1 million people worldwide. Yeah, and then what happens? A week later, they stick it up your ass one more time, because you won. That's the kind of ridiculous, like cognitive dissonance that's going on. You can't even realize the reality of the situation that you're losing. You've been losing for 2 years. You've been a dupe. Just admit you were a dupe and you got bullshitted, okay? You got lied to, Now do something about it. Don't just keep going along. That's what's missing.
Yeah, it's not like this is anything new. This is what governments always do.
Yeah, when they go bad, yeah, yeah, it's the same pattern. That's why the governments now they're all now in the big technical age they all know what they're doing and it truly is. It's like, come on, if you didn't realize that they're really all connected and there really is a hidden hand and all that, and it's really all corrupt from the top. If you didn't believe that before, you certainly have to believe that now. When the whole planet does the same thing literally on the same day, and then it's a conspiracy theory that we're all tied together. No, man, it's not a conspiracy theory. You just saw it right in front of your face. Did you miss it?
No, exactly. Like we reached the point that they're doing it publicly. They aren't hiding it anymore. We always knew this already. Like we talk about this for years and years and years, long before this COVID stuff, and they were doing it behind the scenes. We no one knew that they were pulling the strings of politicians and stuff. But now they're just doing it openly. They're not hiding it for us anymore. They're saying, no, we are in control. Like you don't have rights when we don't want you to have rights. Here is your little rights ticket. We can take it away when we want to. Like we put all your human rights in a little QR code or like a little passport, and we decide when you have it or not. I'm sorry, but my human rights are attached to me as a human, not to any ticket. It's like, yeah. At some point, they just branded themselves. I had got this little QR code scanner on my phone. Just scan these random barcodes, right? You can see what product it is, and you can instantly find it on Google, the product. It works on these normal barcodes too. You just notice that it is the exact same thing, that you just brand it yourself with a product barcode. Let's see.
And I don't know if it was it's a QR code, right? Q. We're gonna tie all.
Oh,
It's conspiracy theory.
fucking
Conspiracy theory.
God, Alamo.
Q registry code. It's just like that. It is just a barcode in a different. What do you call it? A barcode too, actually. A 2D barcode. But you all have to take it, or you're no longer able to buy or sell.
Well, no.
Well, see now. Here's a twist for you. Here's a twist for you, Mark. Okay, we should rejoice. If we were religious, we would be rejoicing because this is all prophecy being fulfilled, and this is a good thing. See how that works?
Yeah, are we expecting a Messiah to come anytime soon, Preston?
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, and see, they got you to the point where you almost have to hope that he does because everything's so fucked up. Somebody's got to fix it, This whole, cow ab ordo, chaos out of order that we're in right now, it's incredible. Where are all these Masons?
Yeah, we are in deep shit. That's for sure. I think everyone can at least agree on that we are like in really deep shit right now.
Well, that's what that concentration of wealth and power gets you. I guess the truth is they finally got it to the point where there's a few enough guys in the big club so that they really and truly feel now that they can take over and not worry about it. They don't give a shit what the laws of any country is. They just do whatever they want. We bought everybody off, so must be okay.
Yes. Trez. Free Assange.
I mean, they've actually pulled it off. Yeah, you just watched them pull it off. So hey, congratulations, Klaus Schwab, man. Can we relish in the dark side's dictator? Can we appreciate what they had to go through and all the decades they've spent trying to, monopolize the planet? And they finally pulled it off.
No.
Well, we aren't done yet, Preston. I'm just not sure how we are.
Trez in the chat says free Assange, and yes. Free him now.
Yeah, okay, so we didn't lose yet. The thing is, I'm not sure how well we are calculated into the whole story. Like how big the protest movements are calculated in. Of course they are calculated in, but I'm not sure to what level. Like what are their scenarios, right? Their green, orange and red scenarios. And how do they plan to combat that? Because they obviously have to understand that there is going to be big protests. And there are. I mean, like, if you look at Italy, there are 100,000s on the street at once. Like, literally 100,000s of people. Enough to overthrow their government, like, in the same day. They're not doing it, but they have enough to do it. So, in that sense, like, so I've read the plans. This was by the Rockefeller Foundation. This was like years and years ago. They wrote this whole scenario thing, which was later on said they had nothing to do with COVID. But they did calculate in that the first state would be overthrown in this process in the country of Nigeria. They had this whole process going on too, and it would like end in 2030, just like what is going to happen now. That 2030 is the end goal. But at some point in time, the first countries are going to be overthrown by their population, and the population are not happy with it. So I'm not sure where that's going to happen, but there are some places in the world there is going to be resistance against this. It is not going to be like flawless victory. I don't think that. I was hoping the US would be actually the place. I'm still considering it could be the US too, whether the resistance is strong enough.
I mean, there's a resistance here, but also the US kind of sucks. So.
But you have some states where people are like a little different than in other states, right? You look at places like Texas and stuff.
Yeah, we're not too bad here now. Not compared to other places. I mean, we were kind of shady there for a good period. The center of the country, like Oklahoma through the Dakotas, Iowa, is about the last of the. They never really fell for it. That area, it was mostly rural, so they didn't fall for it too much. But like states that a lot of people thought were solid, like Utah, Idaho, and Texas, they caved in, man, and it's just like, oh fuck. So the whole prepper scene is kind of in an upheaval right now because people that thought they were good in those three states found out that they weren't.
Yeah. And the way you also see that they have complete control over the globe already, in that sense, is that you don't hear anything from Kim Jong-un anymore. You don't. You see that the state of Iran is completely complicit. They're doing the same thing. They're ordering vaccines. They have people in the street resisting Iranians. They're all doing the same thing. Like there's literally no nation not doing this. You have in Eastern Europe a few. Like you have the leader of Croatia saying like, we're not vaccinating anyone anymore. Build like a fence around us. I don't care anymore. You have a few other nations saying that, but I'm thinking those are just like temporary nuisances for these people. Like,
Well, yeah, the former leader of Tanzania basically resisted the agenda, and then he disappeared and came back and died of a heart attack. So
yeah, these are just they're temporary and nuisances. They will take care of these people.
but even if they get rid of the leaders, the people still remain, because like they can get rid of some of the African leaders resisting it and then install their puppets, but at the end of the day, large majority of the continent is still unjabbed because they don't give a fuck and they don't trust the shit.
Yeah, in propaganda it is the engineering or manufacturing of consent, right? They can only stay in power with consent, and the consent can be created by creating fear and offering the solutions to this fear, offering them a way out. Like there is no alternative, and like you have to amplify the danger of this thing that causes them fear like 1,000-fold, and then you bring the solutions. So they know it can only be done by consent of the people, and that's because the true power is still with the people, even though we don't realize it. Like in the USA, it takes less than 1 million people. You just take over Washington, and you have Washington. It's yours. There's no more White House, anything. The U.S. Army isn't going to stop 1 million people from taking over Washington. It's not going to happen. And especially in Americans, you all have guns and stuff. Like it's a little easier than here. But in here, like we also had truckers and farmers just driving over the fences. They literally, like, one of them drove like literally into like this a local a government building. Just drove. The entire door was taken out and stuff, and then the local government just said, okay, we'll get your way. Right? So there was the farmers' protest here became pretty big, and like they just started driving over the fences. They started driving through police barricades with these huge tractors. Yeah, and they forced their way in because they were all united as farmers. So, and that isn't even a huge crowd. That is just, you're talking about a few thousand here. So yeah, people can still do it, I think. But the true power is with people, but they have to stake it. But we can't advocate for violence either, so we have to advocate for massive civil disobedience.
Is the trial like 4 hours now? Right, all right, 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we end this? And, Tyler,
Yeah.
are you guys available like later today or something too to cover this trial, or because I have Deepa coming too?
What's tonight? No. I have 14-hour dates today. Not today. Not tonight. I was gonna say. That's what I was about to say. I'm falling asleep.
Okay, well, we can add this, I guess. Well, people, you have the verdict for the Julian Assange extradition case on 10:15 UK time. which is about 4 hours from now. And the judge will decide if this innocent journalist will be extradited to the USA, where he will face 175 years in prison. That's 2021.
Yeah, there you go.
So make sure to spam neuter your politicians and lobbyists and bankers and military contractors and royalty. This is what happens when Tyler's not streaming and can't give the